I know girls that have broken their leg, girls that have slipped discs in their backs. And like, you're 12 years old and you've got a slipped disc, that's insane. Roller derby is a full contact sport. It originated, I think, in the 1930s, but as it exists today, started in the early 2000s. And the basic gameplay is there's 2 teams and 5 members of a team on the track at each time. There's 4 blockers and 1 jammer from each team. So the jammer starts back a little bit at the jam line and waits for the whistle to blow, and then the 4 blockers' attempt is to block the other team's jammer from passing them. When you pass them, you get a point. So the way we kind of explain it is that it's a little bit like hockey, but the way you gain points is through the jammer. So the jammer is kind of like the ball. So growing up, I wasn't very athletic. I did a couple of sports for like a year at a time, like everyone tries out soccer and basketball, but none of them really stuck with me. And then when I was in high school, I was really interested in playing a contact sport, but a lot of sports, like if you take ice hockey for example, or lacrosse, all the women's variations on that sport take out the physical nature of it a lot, because I think people just think women can't take it, and I wanted to be in a sport that wasn't modified from what it originally was, and roller derby was created by women. So it was really fun to just play a sport where you weren't being constantly compared to men, where it wasn't second rate, and that was a community that was all about being who you are, and you didn't have to modify yourself at all. If you pretty much ask any person how they got into roller skating, I'll guarantee that they saw the movie Whip It with Ellen Page. But when I was 15, I saw that movie, and I thought it was really, really cool. I got a pair of roller skates for Christmas, and I was going to like the tennis courts to go practice. And then a couple months later, my really good friend now, Melody, she was at the time a friend of a friend, and she had started playing roller derby, and their league was looking for more girls, so she asked if I wanted to join, and that was in Jackson, New Jersey. So it was a 40-minute drive each way, and there were practices twice a week, and then sometimes on the weekends. So it was kind of hard to get into it, but she like took me along, and I got all the necessary equipment. I started learning the actual skills of skating during our Fresh Meet program at roller derby, so when you actually start, you don't get put on a team or even start doing full contact until probably takes about 6 months to learn all the skills. So you learn skating forward, skating backwards, T-stops, plow stops. So you could go to a roller rink and basically learn how to go forwards, but it takes a lot more skills to actually hit people on roller skates. A lot of people's only experiences with roller derby are movies like Whip It, where it's really dramatic. People are flying around the court, punching each other, and that's all they really think. They think people just put on a pair of roller skates and beat each other up, but it's actually extremely regulated. There's a huge rule book, and they update the rules every single year. So while we were playing roller derby, at a certain point in the year, it was like, okay, here are the rule changes, we're going to implement them. Especially for junior roller derby, there are certain rules about how much you can accelerate when you're going into somebody, and then there are certain areas of the body that are off limits. So for example, you can't check anybody from, we said, bra straps out on the front, and then on the back there's just tons of penalties that you can get for hitting someone in a incorrect way, for tripping people, and you would get set to a penalty box. So you're not just whipping around the rink and just flying punches in and clotheslining people. It's really, really regulated. A lot of people also don't realize how young people are when they start. So I had people on my team that were what we call level 3 skaters. So we had level 3 skaters that were 10 years old. So it's kind of weird when you're jamming against a 10-year-old who's really, really fast, can take a lot of hits, but you're knocking down somebody that's in 5th grade when you're 17. I don't think you find in most sports something that kind of goes outside of people's physical abilities to encompass their personalities, their struggles. There's a community there for you even if you don't play. There's referees, volunteers. If you're interested in being a part of a community that supports roller derby, you have a place even if you're not a skater.